We have a 2014 Ford Focus in the shop here. Customer brought it in, said sometimes when they put it in reverse, it goes nowhere, it has no reverse, and then when it does go ahead and go into reverse, sometimes it may be delayed a little. And then when they go into drive and they take off, they called it a kind of a jerking type deal. I've got it to do that. To me, it was more like when you're accelerating. It's more like a surge that would, a slight surge that would pick up and then it let off, almost like you was throttling the gas pedal up and down, but it was real light. I never did get it to act up where it didn't have a reverse. It did act like once that it did delay just for a little bit. But anyway, we got the computer hooked up on it. I think this thing only had like 75,000 miles on this car, but we do have a code, and it is it'll focus, a P090C-00, which is a clutch B actuator control. Now this has got two of them actuators on this car. Let me go out here and this is the actuator, by the way. That's the part number in case you was wondering. But anyway, let me set this out of the way here. Now this is on the top here, right down. Let me see if I can get my light drill shine just on the end there. There we go. Like I'm going straight down here. There's an actuator right there, shift actuator right here. Now that's actuator A. We was getting actuator B, and it's on the bottom side. So we'll have to lift the car up to get to the bottom. Okay, on these shift actuator motors, this is the transmission right here. Your engine sets up here. This is where it bolts to the engine, to this way. This right here is actuator A, which sets on top. Actuator B, which sets on bottom. So if you wanted to check this before you bought one of them actuators, that can be done. What you would want to do is remove these actuators, remove the top one and the lower one, and you're going to swap them around. You're going to put, like we had that code in for B, actuator B, and we'd put actuator B on top and then put actuator A on bottom. They're the same part number on the actuator, so they're perfectly fine to do that. And then once you get them swapped, you want to clear the codes and then drive it till the engine light comes on, and then have your code read again. Now, if it comes back that you have a code for actuator A now, then that means that code followed that actuator up to the top. So that would be definite proof that the actuator was bad. If it's still showing actuator B, then you got an internal problem in the transmission itself. Just thought I'd show you that, so if you didn't want to buy one of these $120 motors, you didn't have to. Okay, we got this car up in the air. Go underneath it here. I do think there is supposed to be a panel or a shield that goes right here. It's missing on this one, so if it's got that, yeah, it looks like it's got a clip here for our bolt, one on the other side, so that would have to be removed. But this is shift solenoid B. That's the one we're going to go after. And we're going to I'm just going to put the solenoid, try it, see if it fixes it. Now, there is a chance that if this doesn't fix it, then it's going to have internal transmission problems. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed here on this one. There's a yellow tab right here on this connector that connects to this actuator. I just want to get me something like a little screwdriver here, and I'm going to pull that little yellow tab out like that. That'll unlock this slide bar right there, and as you pull this down, that connector will slide out. I did put some penetrating oil on this before I did that. Next, there are 4 of these, I think that's an E8, like an inverted type Torx. So I'm just going to go around, I'm going to remove all 4 of these bolts. Should not have any fluid leak out of this. But it should probably just pop out real simple. But let me get these all the way out and then I'll come back. Okay, I've got the 4 bolts removed, and I'm just going to wiggle it around and I'm going to bring it out like that. That's just kind of looking up in here. Sure there's no debris or anything in there. And I'm going to take my new one. I can get my hand on it here. Just slide it in place. Start the bolts in and tighten them up. And then when I get them tightened, let me just get a couple snug down here. And we'll slip that connector on. I'll come back and put them other 2 and tighten it down after I show you this. But we're just going to slide that connector back in place. Just going to kind of push it up there. As I'm kind of pushing the in on it, I'm going to push the lever up, and that's going to slide all the way in place, and then the yellow tab will be pushed in. That'll lock it in place. So let me get them finished tightened up here, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got that actuator installed, got the car pulled out, and I'm going to have to do a transmission relearn on it, learn on it. It has to be performed by a scan tool. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if you could just drive it around and it would relearn itself. I do not know. But anyway, I'm going to do a relearn on it. And probably drive it around some. There's a procedure you have to go through. Turn the ignition on. And I'll just do a relearn on, I'll do it on all 3 of these. The transmission range sensor, the shift drum, and the clutch. Then there's a drive cycle you have to do when that's done. I'll just kind of post this up here a little bit, because I don't know if you can just do this drive cycle here. I don't know. I know the book says to do a relearn on it. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll just see if I fixed it. Okay, I've drove this thing 5 different times. Let it sit overnight each time. That way I could try it on a cold start. It's went in reverse every time, no problem, no hesitation, no nothing. That surge I was kind of feeling that first couple times I drove it, that is gone. But now I'm feeling a shudder, a shudder when it's going shifting from first to second. What I'm talking about is shudder. It's kind of a rapid type deal for a few seconds, and then it'll shift into second and go on. It kind of fades out the warmer the transmission gets. It goes away. But that shuddering is from that dual clutch system that's inside the transmission, so that would have to be took out and replaced. We're not going to do anything with that right now. I'm going to give this back to her, let her drive it, and make sure the light don't come on and everything before we get involved in that clutch system, because that's going to be probably pretty expensive. But anyway, that's just an update. Thanks for watching.